I have been fighting for a week since I got the Holly Sniper put in and the fuel tank in to get this car to run properly again, and it's not shifting right. And I've been fighting to adjust the kickdown cable to get my shift points right, and it just won't happen. The car advertised when we bought it was a small block Chevy 350 with a turbo 350 behind it, and I think I finally found out why I can't get this thing to downshift properly. If you're familiar with transmissions, which I was not, this big square pan here is a 700R4. It does not have a kickdown cable, it has a TV cable, and it no longer has third gear. Welcome back to 10 Foot Customs, and as stated in the last video, I have 72 hours to try to get that turbo 350 and a new torque converter into the Nova. I don't have super high hopes for this. Number one, because I don't know what I'm doing. I've never done this before. I've watched some videos on it recently, and it doesn't look that difficult. And this 700R4 should just unbolt, and it looks like the crossmember plate is adjustable for the turbo 350. But again, I've never done this, so this is going to be a whole new experience for me, and I'm probably going to look like an idiot during most of it, but that's okay. We're going to try to make this happen. 72 hours deadline for Cars and Coffee to have this car there. My deadline, my goal for tonight is just to get the 700R4 out, and if I get more than that, then I will be happy. So stick around, let's see what kind of problems we can run into. With the time crunch, this is probably going to be an abbreviated video. I'll probably do stuff and then bring you back in, just because I don't know if I have time to do my normal long video, which some of you may enjoy anyway, because yeah, you just might enjoy a shorter video. So I'll be doing things and then just update you with where I'm at. As of now, the first thing I do need to do is get the distributor out, because I can't tip the engine back with the distributor in it. I do have to tip it back a little bit. So that's coming out. I'm going to mark it. I already marked where the distributor is on the block, and then I'm going to mark where the rotor is pointing on the distributor. That way I get it all put back together where it should be. Distributor's out. Supposedly now I can possibly get to the two top bolts to the transmission and loosen them before I put any kind of weight on it, because it's easier. Ow. Ow. There's one, there's the other. Put a rag in this distributor hole, because we don't want that a tool for a hand or anything. I'm having trouble getting enough leverage to break the top two bell housing bolts to the transmission off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unbolt the drive shaft, get the drive shaft out of the way. You can't see the skid plate, or the skid plate, the crossmember. The crossmember here, I'm going to unbolt the crossmember. And then hopefully I can tip the engine down just a smidge, and maybe I can then reach it with an impact and some extensions. So I think I can see them from right through here, and I've got enough extension I think to make it. So if I can just lean the engine back now that the distributor's out of the way, I might be able to just hit them and bop them out. So that's the plan. Drive shaft out, and then take the cross member out of the way. And that's the next step. What the heck? How is it not 3/8 and it's not 1/2 inch? It's not 7/16. 10? Hold on. I was back there loosening up the axle bolts, and I says to myself, you should probably really loosen your torque converter bolts before you undo your drive shaft. And since I listen to myself sometimes, I was like, that's a good idea. So we're going to take the inspection cover off with 10mm bolts. That'll be the only 10s in the entire car. And we'll get our torque converter loose so that this has got some interesting stuff done on it. The transpan has a cork gasket on it, so that's like newer, I would think. It looks newer. The oil pan has a Velcro gasket on it, which wouldn't be factory. We got our doubts as to whether someone blew up the engine that we have all the paperwork for and swapped in something else. But let's hope that didn't happen. That would just be a really sleazy thing to do. Last of the torque converter bolts coming out. We have to remember to red Loctite them when we put them back in. And I'll have to Google a torque spec on them. Torque converter is now free from the flex plate. Awesome. Okay, now I can go back to the drive shaft and finish out unbolting the drive shaft and pulling that out. There's two things I want to do here. One, I'm going to have to knock this out of the yoke now that it's loose. I want to put tape around the universal so the bearings don't fall out everywhere. Okay, with this down, I'll do my best to try not to lose these. Like that. I'll punch myself in the face with it. Okay, so those are taped up. They don't have to be perfect, but just enough to keep the caps from falling off. Now, the next thing is, when the drive shaft comes out of here completely, there's a good chance I'm going to start leaking trans fluid. So I've got a plastic baggie and some duct tape. Don't know if it's going to help, but I'm going to try anyway. There's no drain on that pan, so unless I took the pan off, I wouldn't be able to get it out. Okay, we're dripping a little bit. Not bad. We're also not leaning back yet. Okay. Baggie around it. Like that. At least it might slow it down a little bit anyway. Okay. Again, better than nothing, I'm hoping. We need to get the speedo drive off. Get a wrench for that. And then it's time to, I think, remove the skid plate and start to see if we can lower the engine and trans down at an angle we can get the bolts out.
case.
So we got the engine, the cross members out, starters out, and I think that's about it. Now we're gonna try to, with this really long, like overly long extension, try to hit these trans nuts out. Okay.
I don't think it's going anywhere.
Let's try a shorter extension. Let's see if that helps. Gotta go in just a hair bit more.
No.
Do it again. Well, that's not awesome. Let's try the one above it. Will it even make it to the one above it? Well, it's hot.
I'm not gonna have an angle on it, no.
Okay, let's see if we can break them through by hand and see if that works. There it comes. It's almost out.
It's like melt edges on it. That's the only thing.
Yeah, it's okay. It's up. If we drop the trains, it'll stay.
Okay.
It's all the way. It's out far enough that it's not connected anymore. It should be as easy as move the tools out of the way. What's that?
Should be as easy as 1, 2, 3. Ow.
Yeah, I keep doing that myself. Okay, it should be as easy as lowering it down. All the weight here is on this front corner of the pan. That's why I put the jack so far forward.
Okay.
So let's see what happens. I should have. The jack is completely wrong direction for this. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa! Hey,
I didn't do that.
you did too.
Well, I couldn't control it.
Okay,
now.
it's off.
Is it stuck?
Nothing. The bottom of the car, maybe.
Oh wait, whatever you just did.
Dipstick.
Okay.
So let me come to that side and support the nose.
That, or I can hold this while you lower.
Yeah.
your
Okay,
bag.
that works too. Either way, someone just has to support the nose of it.
This bag is filling up quick.
It's taped down there.
Well, still might leak out. Just come down nice and slow.
Yeah. Okay, coming down nice and slow. Stuck on. Hold
We're
on.
stuck on something tight.
It is. That is a starter motor, so that's not connected.
Okay.
Well, careful.
What's going on?
You're just hitting your cables. Let me lower the rest of the way down.
I'm telling you, it's stuck on something.
Oh, header. There it is. Watch your peen.
I see
I
that.
don't want you to get peed on. Oh, pour up the other side. It's down.
It's down.
Oh, it's peeing everywhere.
Made a mess.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it did. Well, at least we got this board not covered in, so we can cover the mess with the board.
Correct, and yes.
It's down and it's bleeding everywhere.
Oh, we ripped the bag open, I think.
Oh, maybe.
Well, it's dripping out of the bottom of the bag.
Oh,
and
maybe.
The bag's now empty.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not the worst thing that could have happened.
It's down.
Right, now he's got to get it out from underneath the car.
Yeah, how do we get it out? It's taller than the bottom of the car.
Well, we can slide it back to here. Sun is setting fast, but here is the new Turbo 350. And I am currently filling the torque converter up with ATF. They say they want a minimum of a quart of ATF in here. So, that's what I'm doing. I took the measurements from the two. I put this torque converter on, and took the measurements to make sure that the back set was the same. They're identical, so this should not have a problem fitting back up into the engine bay. Okay, that was easy enough.
I have no clue how we're gonna do this.
No, someone we have to get it picked up and slid onto the jack. So let's figure out how to do that.
It's trying to slide off to my way.
Is it? Oh, it is. A lot. Okay, I'm going to try to slide the jack. There is not much slide in the jack. There we go. Okay, we need to slide forward. About there. We can start going up with it, I think.
Why is this?
What's that?
It keeps sliding off to my way. Maybe there.
Yeah, try that. I mean, we'll see. Take it up. Trans is slipping backwards on the board.
I know, that's what I was trying to fix. I went
Okay.
to pull back on the jack.
Okay, so it's moving forward. Keep going, we're doing it. Okay, we got it much better now. Okay, we're going up. Looking good. Slide it forward. Okay, the jack is going to come off of the board here in a second.
What do you mean?
Well, that's no, not that board. The other board.
Oh, this board.
Yeah, which is fine.
We might be able to count on shimmy the board forward.
I think we can just roll the jack off and shimmy the jack forward.
Okay, it's gonna be
a drop, like that. Okay,
Yep.
now go up.
You got the trans?
Got the trans.
Do you have the trans?
Oh, I just moved the line. Yeah, I'm just moving lines. Going up.
How close are we?
2 inches, 3 inches.
So keep going up a little bit?
Yeah, keep going up. I'm gonna call it a night. It's just shy of 11 o'clock, and the Turbo 350's in. Training cooler lines are hooked back up. Gotta put the starter in. The kickdown cable I'm gonna try to reuse from the other transmission. I've got to get the vacuum modulator line and run that up, and then hook up the shifter part and put the drive shaft back in. So, oh, and the other reason I have to stop is that the torque converter bolts are different. So I have to get new torque converter bolts to bolt the torque converter up, and I think I need to get some shims. I'm going to look up tonight to see if I can just use washers as shims. I don't see why not. I only need to shim it out maybe a 1/16 of an inch. Maybe a little more than that, but not much. So that's where we're going to end it for tonight. And tomorrow after work, we'll start doing some more. Just got home from work, day 2. Let's see if we can finish this up. Just got to finish bolting the trans to the engine. And then it's going to be hopefully a quick reverse process of how we got it out. And then maybe we start it. All 6 trans bolts are put in. So I'm going to try to jack this thing up into position and get the crossmember put back in. Oh, engine mount. I gotta get the trans mount off of the other transmission to put on here, and then we should be good. Katie's on her way to get me a detent cable because I thought the TV cable was going to be the same as the kickdown cable as far as functionality, but it doesn't even fit into the spot for a kickdown cable. So I actually do need to get a kickdown cable, and I really don't need to get one, but because if it doesn't work, you don't need one for a Turbo 350, but I just want to plug the hole up so it doesn't leak is the only reason why I'm doing it. So anyway, trans going up. Oh, Well, you fit out of here. This is a very heavy starter. If I drop it on my face, it's gonna hurt. Well, how did you get out? One of the things they specify very importantly in the torque converter instructions is the amount of pullout that the torque converter can have. So right now I've got a gap of about 3/8 of an inch between my torque converter and my flex plate. And if I go to just pull the bolts tight, I'll end up pulling the torque converter out too far. So they say you want a little bit of movement. So they say pulled out about 1/8 of an inch, but no more than 5/16 of an inch. So I said I got about 3/8. So I'm going to put a couple flat washers in there, and I got brand new bolts with red Loctite, and we'll get this thing so it, just moves over just a hair bit, and we should be fine. Because right now it's all the way against the trans, so I want a little bit of movement over. So that's what I'm going to do, get the bolts in, started on this, and get the torque converter bolts in. Okay, torque down. 3 washers were the perfect shim to get this to come off away from the trans just a hair, but not have it come out of the pump. I'm assuming that's why, not come out of the pump too far. It is 9:30 and cross member is in. So basically the transmission is completely put in. The only thing that I don't have is the Speedo drive thing to go in the Speedo drive hole, and I've looked around and no one locally has it. So I did find out that there is a block off plate that I can put in there, but the only person who locally who has it is Summit Racing. So they open at 9, so I may have to run out there first thing in the morning to get this block off plate and put it in, and then that would be it for what's going into, to button the transmission up so it doesn't leak fluid out of it. This is hopefully going to be the right length. So we're about the same much of engagement onto the spline as we were before, so we should be fine. Okay, let me get the stuff all bolted in back there. Oh, and that's it for tonight. It's like 10:30 again, and it's getting late, and I'm kind of out of things to do. I don't have a long enough screwdriver to turn the input or the gear and the oil pump to get the distributor down inside, so I have to get a longer screwdriver to do that. There's a bracket welded to the frame that's stopping me from shifting into park. So I'm gonna have to cut that off. Someone must have, it's an aftermarket welded on bracket, so I don't know why it's there. So that's gonna take me a little bit to cut off. But once that's cut off, this shifter will have full sweep. Everything else is pretty much done. Nova update. It's still in jack stands, and in almost exactly 24 hours from now, I have to be brewing coffee for the first hosting of My Cars and Coffee. So, and the Nova's supposed to be there. But I've got a list of about 8 things that I couldn't get done last night after it got late, that I couldn't get parts for, and I couldn't put fluid into the transmission because of one plug that I needed to cap off because I don't have a Speedo drive. I'm on my way to Summit, and I'm going to grab that cap, and then I can, after work tonight, it's the list of quick 8 things, and we can hopefully get the car off jack stands. Maybe. Sun's setting on the eve of Cars and Coffee. Distributor's in. Hopefully I got it timed right. Vacuum line is in for the vacuum modulator. I'm working on the exhaust bolts now. The trans is full of fluid and the plug is in the Speedo drive. So checking things off my list quick, and hopefully within the next hour I can start it and see if I've got a huge trans leak where the feeding some out of the transmission into the trans filter.
Here we are. This is the first time he's trying to start this vehicle.
Not the second time or third. So I'm editing the video that you're watching, and I realized that I missed a section, and it was because that I was in this deadline mode of getting the car ready for the following day that I totally skipped a section of us when we did get the car running that night. We had the distributor in probably 6 or 7 times because we could not get the timing. You know, every time it would rotate, or we just weren't sure if we had it right. So we had it in and out a bunch of times. We finally got it right, and the car did finally fire to life. It was not happy about it, but it did finally fire up, and I was able to drive it down the street and back on Saturday night. And again, remember, Cars and Coffee is the following morning. I knew the trans was a little bit low on fluid because I didn't have enough to fill it, so my plan was to go out first thing in the morning and get trans fluid, which I did. And you know, if it started and ran, it was going to Cars and Coffee. Went out in the morning. On Sunday morning, I was at Walmart right when they opened, and I got the rest of the trans fluid, topped it off. I got the car started, and I drove it down the street, and I was, I don't know, down a block or so, and the AFR started to go insane, and the car started to chug a little bit, and there was something wrong. And I didn't like how far the AFR was off, so I spun around really quick and was going to head back home. And the car stalled out, and it would not restart. It would crank, and sometimes it would go, and it would fire for a second, and then it would stall out. So that's kind of where you're going to see this next clip. This is the Monday following the Cars and Coffee that we missed. Just got off the phone with Holly, and they looked at, talked to me about some of the data that I was getting on the screen, and it sounds like there's a faulty O2 sensor. So they are going to warranty out a new O2 and ship it out to me. So it should be here in the next day or two, hopefully. Depends on if it gets out today or tomorrow. And we will throw a new O2 sensor into it and see if it fires up and runs like it should. So I am hoping it's just an O2. That's a simple, very simple fix, and we'll go from there. So stay tuned. We'll see what happens. Well, let me catch you up on after that video. The O2 sensor showed up, and it was probably like Wednesday, but it rained from Wednesday to the following weekend, and so Sunday was when I got the chance to install the O2 sensor, and I installed it, and nothing happened. There was no change, nothing. So I spent probably another week messing with it, moving wires, making sure nothing was touching anything that shouldn't be, and that would give me the errant readings on the sniper. And then so 2 Mondays later, I finally called Holly again, and let me say, Holly they're fantastic people. If you ever have problems, their customer service is fantastic. The guy at Holly spent probably a half hour on the phone with me, going over different things, checking data, and it came to the fact that it was either a no spark, or there was either an over or an under pressurization of fuel. And I knew we had spark, because I shocked the crap out of myself accidentally pulling a wire. Without having a fuel pressure gauge, there was no way to know what our pressure was. So that was the next step. When I got off the phone with him, the next step was to install a fuel pressure gauge. In preparation for installing the fuel pressure gauge, which I didn't have yet, but I was just going to figure out where it was going to go, I took one of the clamps off of the lines, and when the clamp came loose, it blew the line off of the fuel filter, and it was all air. So all of a sudden it was, are you this dumb? And basically what it comes up to be, and why the Nova didn't make it to Cars and Coffee.
It ain't got no gas in it.
Well, ever since that video, the car has been running beautifully. The owner has had it back for over a week, and he's driven it every nice day that we've had, and it runs phenomenally well. It's amazing what gasoline will do for an internal combustion engine car. I did install the Dakota Digital dashboard, which I did shoot an episode on. That'll be coming up here shortly. So now there actually is a functioning gas gauge. But, you know, sometimes things like that happen and you're just an idiot and you're overanalyzing what could be wrong. Thank you all for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope everybody has a wonderful week.